National Monetary Fund has raised its projections for Egypt's real GDP growth for the fiscal year 2020-2021 to 2.8%, up from 2% projected in June, reflecting the milder than anticipated contraction in the country's economy, making it likely one of the few countries to record positive growth, around 1.5% in 2021. The revision came amid the IMF Executive Board's completion of the first review of Egypt's economic reform program. The IMF attributed this to Egypt's stronger base in the fiscal year 2020-2021. According to the IMF, the fiscal year 2020-2021 current account projection is mostly unchanged from June's projections, although with higher and broadly offsetting levels of remittances and imports than previously projected. The IMF welcomed the Egyptian authorities' plan to provide any additional support to vulnerable groups and sectors in the event of a second wave of COVID-19, adding that Egypt's economic recovery should allow resuming the pre-crisis primary surplus of 2% of GDP in the fiscal year 2021-2022 in order to preserve macroeconomic stability. The IMF stressed that continued progress on fiscal reforms is important to provide additional space for high-priority spending on health and education, including speeding up the planned public expenditure review to boost social protection. The IMF added that sustained progress on structural and governance reforms is essential to foster higher, greener, and more inclusive private sector-led growth, including continued focus on enhancing the transparency of state-owned enterprises, ensuring a level playing field for all economic agents, and removing bureaucratic obstacles to private sector development. The IMF said that Egypt has managed the COVID-19 pandemic and its related disruption to economic activity by adopting proactive measures to address health and social needs and support the sectors most directly affected by the crisis.
Welcome back. And, back to you, sir. And we were speaking about the different measures that were taken by the government. And here the government launched several initiatives to support its economic sectors, particularly those that were hard hit by the pandemic. What exactly were the sectors that the government has helped, and how did the government help them overcome the burden that they saw, or the obstacles that and hurdles they have witnessed?
To start with, if they have some loans, they postpone the repayment of the loans. Okay, they give them some exemption of the interest. And for some individuals with small income, they just declared that he can use his credit cards, okay, without payment for 6 months or something like this, with a small interest rate. There is some subsidy for some labors, okay, they have to give every month. Okay, some figure, small figure, yes, but it helps. Okay, and they have an open mind, especially with middle size of investments or projects here in Egypt, to negotiate the way of payment or the expenses they have to incur for this.
What exactly are the sectors that have been hard hit?
To start with
tourism.
Okay. Most of labor handmade products. Okay.
Which the president has witnessed himself and went himself inaugurating some of them.
Yeah, and very small shops or something like this. I'm not talking about coffee shops or something like this, it's okay, but I'm talking about some small industries, small productive lines, okay?
When we speak about the Egyptian economic growth, before the pandemic, Egypt was predicted, or that has been or Egypt has been working on a growth rate, and we were really on track. But then the economic growth rate contracted during the pandemic, but that is normal. Despite that, international financial and credit rating institutions expects Egypt to be the only country in the North Africa and Middle East to experience growth, or rather positive growth rates during the period 2020 and 2021. Why?
Okay. As I mentioned before, if you start...
You did mention before.
Yeah, I'm talking about the investments. Okay.
Please go ahead.
If you are going to start with, as you mentioned, mega projects, okay? Okay, so we started 3 or 4 years ago, okay? So the limitation of completing this project is minimized. And if you are going to complete this project and you succeed in the investments itself, okay, so it means that it will be reflected, okay, in GDP, okay, of the Egyptian people, and automatically, okay, you will have more stability, okay. We have a say, if we have a crisis with tourism, go and build your hotels. If you have the crisis of shortage of tourism, go and build your hotels. Why? First of all, contracting is less, okay? You have a certain time to going to construct and to erect everything you need. The supplies, whatever, room equipments, kitchen equipments, whatever, okay, will be less. But if you are booming with the tourism, okay, the expenses of establishing a new hotel or something like not less 150%.
So you mean here the strategy of when contraction or when we are in contraction status or world contraction economy, it's better to build, to go on construction.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. So now for contracting people, okay, how many feeding industry working
in times of depression?
How many industries? You are talking about not less than 30 or 40 industries involved in the contracting, okay? So you are pushing a lot of industries here in Egypt to go together for more economic stability. Yeah.
More economic stability?
Yes. Okay. I am a ceramic industry, okay? So I am not going to invest more, okay? Because there is no market for me. If you are going to establish extra hotels, extra cities or something like this, so I have to expand my capacity. Okay.
No, I understand the strategy itself because it is a world's economic
but in a different
vision that when a time of depression you go build.
Yeah.
It is said like that.
Okay.
This is an economic term. I understand, but I didn't understand the loss of that, of what you said.
About whatever increase or expanding in or investments or and industries,
Yes.
or about if I have a problem with tourism?
No, not the tourism.
Okay.
The tourism sector is hard hit and tremendously hit, and
Okay.
that has taken
Okay.
other measures from the
Okay.
government to work on. No, I'm speaking here about investments.
Okay. If I have no market, what I'm going to do?
Yes.
To shrink my production capacity, so, right? If there is
yes.
market for my product, I have to shrink my production. I have to shrink my label.
Right.
My labor. Yeah. This is ABC doing business. Okay. So if I'm still working and there is a certain demand increasing, what I shall do, I'll do the same thing. I'm going to increase my capacity I'm going to keep and give more labor opportunities.
So, what does this have to do with the financial or the international financial and credit rating institutions that are expecting
We are
Egypt to
still
be?
working on it. We didn't stop. We didn't stop. We have a growth in investments. We're having growth in many sectors. Okay, we have a problem, yes, with the health maybe and the education, but it's okay. We're still building hospitals. We are still building new schools. Okay, universities. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
If I remember, not
We're still going on with our
Yeah.
sustainable development vision despite all the hurdles.
Yes.
In few words.
Yeah.
Indeed. When we're speaking about challenges the whole world is facing, and in times of crises, it seems that the world starts to see new alliances, new partners.
Of course.
How has Egypt, or what did Egypt do in this concern? I mean, seeking other partners, going worldwide, moving to the, opening up to the world, seeking new partners and...
Okay. The money of the investment is a coward money, is a risky money, okay? So we'll never go for a risky area. If you are in a good or less risky area, so automatically the investment people like to come to Egypt. The idea is, okay, on the counterpart, what I'm going to do, I give them some facilities. I give them some attractive ideas. I give them some incentives. Okay, so it is a mutual relation. Okay, between the money, okay, and the opportunity. If I have the good opportunity here,
But I'm speaking about partners,
Yeah.
new partners.
Yes, this is what I'm talking about. The partner is coming with money. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. But
Hopefully.
yeah. Okay. So, by the way, it is not a matter of money only. Okay. It could be with technology. It could be with technical know-how, with hygiene.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
It is not only the money, but the idea is, okay, he will come here, okay, because we are of some countries, okay, is more secure than others.
Yes.
Is more stable than others. So the whole world is suffering, but this is suffering more little. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we have to coordinate and we have to cope with this trend worldwide.
What I hear it really meant was seeking and or Egypt sought new partners opened up to the whole world, and we've seen a number of visits by the president himself propagating Egypt, and not just Egypt but Africa in times of crisis like the pandemic, and that has opened up the opportunities and promoted for Egypt's opportunities and investments. What do we need at this upcoming stage?
First of all, to keep going with our project, we have to formulate some task force, okay, for attracting more investment, okay. We have to put more efforts, okay, for how to manage our resources in and out of cash and foreign currency. Definitely, we have to encourage the small and very small.
Macro, macro, and yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Mr. Raed Allam, Economic Expert, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dear viewers, many thanks for watching. Tomorrow is an important day. So until tomorrow, it's good night.